Hello my crafty friends, it's Beverly here over at Crafting Chaos, and I'm here with another project, how you can make a 3D diorama style card. So what we're going to do in this video is make the mechanism and all the parts to make the base card. I've done it like a Christmas card so that I would have the different sized hills in the background, and I've made a blue background for the back of the box just to show you this is how I will put it together. I've made a little church for in the foreground. I'm thinking I might add some little trees from a punch, and it's meant to be all more or less in silhouette but staged back as you step back each layer on the folds, the mountain and valley folds that give that diorama effect. So that's what we're planning to make. I'm not going to go into how to make the layers because you can do that as you wish. You can make your own side panels. If you are interested in how to do that, I can do another video, but this video will be long enough just showing you how to make the parts for the card. So the basic parts for the card are the front part, which is a frame, the back part, which is just a rectangle that's the same size as the front part, and the diorama is just a piece of card that's scored every 1/2 inches, and I've got mine at 5x4. So this makes a 5x7 inch card in total. And because this concertina's down, it doesn't go entirely totally flat, but it does go a lot flatter than it is when it's stood upright, when you've got it as like a look into sort of 3D scene. Right, so we're going to get straight on with it. So the first thing you would do, I'm just going to move that off to the side for a minute, is deal with the frame. So obviously the frame I've got here is a 5x7, so I would bring on a rectangle, just a plain standard rectangle, and resize it to 5x7. So we need the aspect ratio unchecked, so we definitely get a 5x7. So that would form the outer part of the card. Now, what shape you decide to put in this part for the actual aperture, if you wish, you can choose any shape you desire. You could do scallops, you could do an oval, you could do a fancy shape that you've designed yourself. You could do an oval with scallop. It's entirely your choice, dependent on what your scene is going to be behind. Just for argument's sake, I'm going to make mine quite straightforward and simple, and I'm going to use a scallop in this case. I don't want a square, I want a rectangle scallop, and I'm going to resize that to, and we want it to be 1 inch less than what it was at both sides, so that's going to make it 4x6, like so. And I'm going to place that in there in the middle, and I'm going to select both by highlighting both and align them centrally and vertically. Now I'm going to click on that first shape on top to make sure that that is on top. If you click there and you get this part selected, that's telling you that that part's on top, but because that's got highlighted there, I can now select both and punch them out using the subtract function. Now if I fill that with colour, you can see that it's now a frame. Okay, so what we need to work on next, and all you would do for the back piece is just bring on a rectangle that's 5x7 inches, which would be at the back of our diorama. And you could make that colour any colour you like. If you were doing a seaside scene, you might decide to do it in pale blue. I'm just going to send that behind, so that you'd look into it and you'd have all your layers building up here. Say maybe you could have sand dunes or sand and a camel, or you could have some seaside items like buckets, spades, shells, or you could do, I'd thought a nice one to do might be a sea scene with like a little island with a mermaid sat on it, and then maybe a layer further back with a lighthouse, and so on. So there's lots of different ideas you can come up with. I've just done a Christmassy one. I did a weddingy one for my niece when she got married last month, and I used 2 little lovebirds, with one wearing a veil and one wearing a hat, sort of cartoony lovebirds, made the bird shapes in canvas and then put all the card together. So once you've got your basic shapes for the back and the front, you're ready then to work on the diorama part that makes it the diorama, and that's the side panels like so. So all you need to do to make the side panels is insert a piece of a shape, a square or a rectangle, it's entirely up to you, and it needs to be 5 by 4. So we're going to make that 5 inches by 4 inches. Okay, so that's the exact same width. Now, what you could do if you wanted is just put that on your scoreboard and score it at 1/2 inch intervals. But if you want your scores to be crisp and perfect, you can do the same thing using your scan and cut by doing a perforation line. So all I'm going to do now is duplicate that, make it 1/2 inch less in the width. So we need to make it 3.75. Okay, so say okay, and that should, sorry, 3.5, what am I saying? I want it 1/2 inch, not 1/4. So 3.5. So that now should be 1/2 inch less than the shape underneath. I'm going to duplicate that by hitting D on my keyboard. So I'm duplicating the smaller of the two. Then I'm going to line up to the right hand side and also to the top. So what that's done is put that smaller shape directly on top of the previous one, and we have aligned it to the top and the left, so that now that line from that line is effectively 1/2 inch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click again to expose the nodes, and we're going to take the node out. We need to get rid of that line. So we get, oh, wrong one. It's must be this line. So that we end up with this line here. So then we need to go on properties whilst it's selected. So I'm just going to click on it. If you do keep getting the square, just send it behind. It just means that you've got that one on top. And then click on the line itself. I'll just zoom in so that I can get the line easier. You can see that my crosshairs are right on that line. So click on that line. We want it a cutting line and a perforating line. So I don't want them too close together, and I only want them quite small because I don't want it to tear. And then we take the one that we duplicated and we need to make this 1/2 inch smaller. So this time by 3. So now that's effectively 1/2 inch smaller than that, and duplicate it. So I'm going to click on and onto that shape, duplicate, move it off to the side. Now I'm going to just select the two that we've done already, and I'm going to group them so that I can move that piece independently from this one that's 1/2 inch less than, again. So it's now 1 inch from that side. So again, I'm lining up to the right and also to the top. You could do bottom. Then I'm going to click again to send that one to the back. It's the small one on top that I want. Click again to expose the nodes, minus that node, click over here, minus that node, and then we end up with the line. Just make sure that shape's at the back, and then we need to highlight the line. So we click on the line to select it. It's still quite, I think it's still quite on top. So I'm going to use send to the very back, and then I'm certain. So then I'm going to click on that centre line when I can get it. I'm just not struggling to get it at this minute. And that's the only problem when you've got just single lines like this. They're difficult to select. It's easier if you join right, zoom straight in, and then you can see what you're doing a bit better. We'll just zoom back out again here. So now we've got this one, which is the same size. We need to make it 2.5 inches now. So again, 1/2 inch smaller, and we're going to duplicate that one, move it off to the side. And this is just so that we're dead accurate where we're getting our score lines. It might seem a little bit tedious, but once you've made one, you can use this diorama for any diorama mechanism for any diorama card. So again, now I've just grouped that score line to this one. I'm going to start by bringing that to the very top, and then I know that we're good when we come to do the line later. So I'm going to align again to the top and also to the right. Click on and duplicate. I've already duplicated, so, and click again to expose the nodes. Minus that one, and it's this one up here we want, and minus that one, so we end up with the line. I'm going to try to get my crosshairs dead on that line, and this is where the, oops, I've accidentally moved it. If you do that, just do undo. If you're struggling to get hold of the line, just zoom right in. Don't forget to go on the selection tool, then click the line. That makes it so much easier. And then click the line that you're choosing to score. Then I'm going to go on View, Fit to Mat. I'm going to select all those again, and I'm just making sure I group them each time so that when I move the next shape in, which I now again need to shrink by half an inch to 2.0, I'm going to duplicate that shape, bring it on, highlight both, align to the top and to the right, click on, and that's got the top one on, so I'm going to send, oops, I did it undo. I'm going to send that layer, the layer that's on top, to the very back so that I can select the rectangle. Double click to expose in the nodes, click on that, click minus, so then we're down to that again. Zoom right in. If that helps you to select the line, make sure you click on the selection tool, then click on the line, make it a cutting line and a scoring line, and then we'll just View, Fit to Mat because that's the easiest way. And then we're going to select those, edit and group them. Then we're going to make that half an inch smaller. Again, I'm going to click on, click off, so that I can duplicate it by clicking D on the keyboard. Again, this one needs to be at the very top, so I can either do that before or do it afterwards. Align top and right. Click on the rectangle, click once more to expose the nodes, minus, click there. Oh, if it does that, just click again to expose, click on, click off and click again to expose the nodes. Make sure you've got the right part highlighted. Again, zoom in if you need to. I find it easier if you do. And then we've got to get that line selected. So we click the selection tool, which is this one. And we're going to make it a cutting line and a perforating line. I'm going to zoom out by doing View, Fit to Mat, and we've just got one more to go. So again, this time making it, I think we've got one to go, 1 inch, or maybe 2. Duplicate it and make sure that we've got those last 2 grouped, and then line the other one up, edit, line to the top, edit, line to the right, click on and click on that shape, send it to the very back, click off, click on that one, click again to expose the nodes, then minus, then click the next one, which is this top one, click minus, that leaves behind the score line, zoom in, click on the select icon, highlight the line, cutting line, scoring line, click off, and then final piece, we're going to make that 0.5. Okay, just going to View, Fit to Mat again now so that I can select those and group them. So now we're almost there, and again select everything there, going to edit and select line to the top, edit line to the right, again send that one to the very back, click on the rectangle that we've just placed, click again to expose the nodes, minus, and then it's this node you want to do minus the node again, zoom in. Actually, let's go view fit to map. That went straight on to select, and if it does that, it makes your life so much easier. And then you can just make it a dashed line and one final group, and that creates your piece that you would use to make these sides stand, the front panel stand away from the back. So all you'd do then is you'd cut these two of these, your front panel and your back panel, in the colours that you desire to fit your and suit your project. You would then do the concertina lines by folding them backwards and forwards like you would a fan, so mountain valley, and you stick one end to this end, the back of this, so to the back side of the front panel, and then you stick this end to the front side of the back panel. Then you do the same with this one at this end, and that enables you to squash it flat, but then you can also put your different layers on the little mountains that are folded out, and that holds them so that they stand proud. Okay, so that's it for this video. Please let me know if it's helped you. Hopefully you've learned now how to make a simple frame, how to make scoring lines, how to make sure that they're evenly spaced apart. I will be putting a copy of this Christmas card, diorama card, in my downloads on my blog, which is at Beverly 10 Blogspot, so you're welcome to download that. And if you don't want to make your own diorama, you can use my file and you can use your own ideas to make your own different dioramas. If you do, I'd love to see them. If you want to send them, or send me a link so that I can see them, or if you're on my Facebook groups, leave a picture on your group, on the groups that I belong to and that you belong to. And I hope you enjoyed it. As always, give me a thumbs up, because that does help to grow the channel. It means that YouTube will recommend the content for people that are looking for videos related to the scan and cut canvas, and also it means that I can reach more people that want to learn how to use canvas in conjunction with their scan and cuts. So thanks for watching. Remember, like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video.